We are in Sultan Ahmet Square, Istanbul in Turkey. Centuries ago it was not Turkey, neither Istanbul. It was Byzantium or Byzantium, an ancient Greek city in classical antiquity that became known as Constantinople in late antiquity and Istanbul today. This park is after the name of Sultan Ahmad, who built Sultan Ahmad Mosque. He was also buried in the mosque. The name Byzantium may derive from that of Byzas, a Greek leader, who built the town in about the 657th of BC. In 330 CE, when Constantine the Great dedicated the city as his capital, he called it New Rome. The coinage continued to be stamped Byzantium until he ordered the substitution of Constantinopolis, Byzantine Empire, which survived for 1,000 years after the western half had crumbled into various feudal kingdoms and which finally fell to Ottoman Turkish onslaughts in 1453. This park is famous for two mosques, Hagia Sophia and Blue Mosque, but there are four other historical things here, namely Egyptian column, walled columned, serpentine column or obelisk, and German fountain. During Byzantium era, this place was Hippodrome. A hippodrome means an ancient Greek stadium for horse racing and chariot racing. The ancient hippodrome from the Roman period had many monuments here. The hippodrome was destroyed and plundered in 1204 by the Crusaders. During the Turkish period it lost its popularity, especially with the construction of the Blue Mosque. The ancient hippodrome changed its name and became At Meydan Horse Square, a place where Ottomans trained their horses. Hippodrome is usually associated with Constantinople's days of glory as an imperial capital. It is estimated that the Hippodrome of Constantine was about 450 meters long and 130 meters wide. This green dome is the German fountain. This is a gift to Sultan Abdul Hamid from Kaiser Wilhelm II after his visit to Istanbul in 1898. The hippodrome was filled with statues of gods, emperors, animals, and heroes, among them some famous works such as a 4th century BC Heracles by Lysippos, Romulus and Remus with the she-wolf Lupa, and the 5th century BC serpent column. Among the three ancient columns that are visible from here in the front is Obelisk of Thutmose or Egyptian column, which was brought here from the temple of Karnak in Luxor, Egypt, to adorn the stadium. The column on the rear is walled obelisk, which was built in 10th century, used to be covered with bronze. Troops of the Fourth Crusade removed the metal to make coins. The Egyptian obelisk was erected by Thutmose III 1425 BC to the south of the 7th pylon of the Great Temple of Karnak. The Roman Emperor Constantius II transported along the river Nile to Alexandria in 357. It was in Alexandria until 390, and later Theodosius I transported it to Constantinople. With each of its facades inscribed with hieroglyphics commending the military success of Thutmose III. The Egyptian obelisk initially stood almost 30 meters tall. The lower part of the Egyptian obelisk was lost to history, and the monument alone stood at less than 20 meters. The upper pedestal of the obelisk's base depicts Theodosius and his court during moments from the races and ceremonies in the Hippodrome. The marble pedestal had bas-reliefs dating to the time of the obelisk's erection in Constantinople. In this figure, Theodosius I is shown offering the crown of victory to the winner in the chariot races, framed between arches and Corinthian columns, with happy spectators, musicians, and dancers assisting in the ceremony. On the column, ancient Egyptian writing, showing the glory of ancient Egyptians in this modern era. Written as if the obelisk itself is speaking, the text refers to the fact that Theodosius had to defeat some rivals in order to become an emperor. Looking on this monument, one has to think the history of the Obelisk of Theodosius has a lot to do with the Hippodrome of Constantinople, which takes us to the heart of Rome. Walled Obelisk is one of 3 ancient monuments which has survived to the present day. It was originally covered with gilded bronze plaques, but they were sacked by Latin troops in the Fourth Crusade. It was originally built in the 4th and 5th century, fell into ruin, and was repaired by Constantine VII in 944. The column was built of dressed stone, is 68 meters high and rests on a 160-meter high pedestal. The 32 meters high obelisk was constructed of roughly cut stones by Constantine VII. Its exact construction date is unknown, but it is named after Constantine VII after he repaired it in the 10th century. At that time, it was reportedly decorated with gilded bronze plaques that portrayed the victories of Basil I, who was the grandfather of Constantine VII. Although the walled column has suffered a lot over the centuries, but it still stood here as a reminder of glorious past. It is reported there was a sphere at the top of Obelisk. Since young janissaries like to use the obelisk to climb and show their prowess, the obelisk suffered further damage to its surface. In front of walled column, there is one green color column that is the serpent column, also known as the serpentine column, Plataean tripod or Delphi tripod. It is a part of an ancient Greek sacrificial tripod, originally in Delphi and relocated to Constantinople by Constantine the Great in 324 AD. The serpentine column has one of the longest literary histories of any object, surviving from Greek and Roman antiquity. The serpent heads of the 8-meter-high column remained intact until the end of the 17th century. One is on display at the nearby Istanbul Archaeology Museums. The column once featured 3 intertwined snakes, their jaws stretching open and supporting a golden tripod. This tripod, along with the heads and necks of all 3 snakes, have since been lost, leaving only the column of their intertwined bodies that can be seen today. All 3 heads had, however, disappeared by the time of Gibbon, who alleged that the discrepancies were by the travelers or Ottoman Turks. It is reported that the serpent heads and top third of the column were destroyed in 1700. The serpent column celebrated the victory of the Greeks over the Persians during the Persian Wars in the 5th century BC. It was moved from the Temple of Apollo at Delphi and set in middle of the Hippodrome, today's Istanbul. This is the place where one of 3 incredible monuments in what was once the Hippodrome of Constantine. One should be thankful great Romans for transferring beautiful remains of an ancient Greek monuments to modern-day Istanbul by Constantine the Great. I have tried to brief you some historical facts about these monuments. Over the centuries these are preserved with minor destruction. Future generations can benefit of it. The time is say to goodbye from Istanbul. Please like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe the Wandering on Go the Own YouTube channel.